Go with this brand. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. My guest today is two beautiful people. I got Rick and Brenda Reese, and they are full of, let me see, their titles are beyond a dozen. They're probably like, 24 titles between the both of them. They're doing great things, inspiring people, inspiring me. So I just want them to talk about some of the things that they're involved in, especially Surge 365, and we're gonna highlight these two. This lovely couple, these entrepreneurs, these definitely. Let me see. Black is beautiful. These two black people are doing some great things, and I'm so happy that they're on the podcast. And Rick, I see him every day almost pretty much doing his thing on Facebook, social media. And you know
Yeah.
what? I love it. I love it. And Brenda, nice to meet you for the very first time. And let me see. We already got a comment here. People are already, let's see. Oh my God. You got another legend on the comment section already. So we got to introduce him.
Oh yeah, my big bro. What's up,
Yeah,
man?
that 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 veteran there, that fellow
That
fly
veteran.
guy,
Shout out to all the veterans.
Yes, definitely.
Uh,
You
Yeah.
know, it's not a one day thing. It's every single day of the year. You should salute the veterans. Like Rick, like Joey, that's on the comment section. And Brenda, was you in the service?
Yes, I did serve with Rick by his side.
Oh, was it like one of those boot camp marriages after boot camp? You guys, you know, he was the cream of the crop, and you just said, "That's the
well,
man of
that's
my
what
life."
happened in college.
Yeah, that's
That
what happened.
we actually met in college,
Yes.
University of Lowell,
Okay.
Massachusetts, and she was 1 year behind me, and we cast those eyes on each other. It was like,
Hmm.
hey,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was what it was. It was the year that Officer and a Gentleman came out too. So I
Hmm.
met my officer and gentleman. So
He
so I had the ends.
he wr- he wrote that script, or you wrote the script, one or
Yeah.
the other.
So
this
I left a year before her and went off in the military. And so she had 1 more year. And it was like, Brittany, you got to graduate so you can come on out here now.
Mhm.
And she did in 82.
yes, yes.
I
Nice.
graduated 81.
Hmm.
And man, we just hit it off in the military as a military couple and as a power team couple. We were a power team couple in college.
Hmm.
That's it.
We just spent what you see now is what we've always done, even in college. We've
That's
always
nice.
just traveled together, restaurants. It's amazing, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's
So
the same thing.
yeah.
so you travel together, the restaurants. Who was footing the bill, man? Was it you? It had to be you, Rick. I
Yeah,
just
man.
Yeah, with Rick.
Yeah. In ROTC, they actually let her pick up my checks. In ROTC,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
then I wasn't even there, man.
Well, that was back in the day when it actually took
She would go
three,
pick up my checks,
right, 3 days for a check to clear. That's not the case anymore.
but I trusted her. I trusted her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I trusted her. Now we're a partnership.
Oh yeah.
Back
Well.
then she had a little work study check. I had
Hmm.
my little ROTC check.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're a partnership now and inseparable. So we just make
Good.
things happen. And you see it
Yeah,
on
you
Facebook.
get those checks, taking 3 days, and it's like Joey Gonzalez says. The pigeon was traveling pretty slow. At the you had those pigeons delivering the mail back then. It just took a long,
Oh
long
yeah.
Serious
time.
mail,
Yeah.
mail.
You can do a lot
Yeah.
in 3 days.
Oh yeah. Well, those pigeons in Westlawn was pretty quick. They got tired of getting picked on, so Maybe the mail service should have grabbed a couple of pigeons from the Westlawn projects, and things would have been all right. And,
All
But
right.
yeah,
you know,
we had my first duty assignment right Patterson Air Force Base, and was able to get in housing on base, so was able to set it up like a little home. And of course, Brenda is the perfect officer's wife. Being able to do those little teas and inviting people over and all that.
mhm.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun those days. So
It was.
we did, but we've always been entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it shows. It definitely shows.
We've
I
always
like
been
it.
looking for something more. You got to get something more. So we had different motivations. Of course, what's nice is that, and interesting, is that as you get older, your motivation changes. Your
Mhm.
more motivation kind of matures. So Brenda knew the importance of us getting into business. And back in those days, we joined Amway, like everybody did back in the 80s. Probably made $2.87 after all the books and rallies. but but it taught us to dream.
That's true. That's
It taught us to dream, and Brenda knows how to dream. And she's like a big time dreamer.
Well, it's all about what motivates you. That's what I tend to ask people a lot. What motivates you? And I know with our business Surge 365, it allows us to design our lifestyle, and that's very important because to me, there's nothing like freedom to be able to design your day, your time, do what you want to do when you want to do it. And that's what we find by having our own home-based business. It allows us to do just that. So, yeah.
Yeah, we left the workaday world, and Brenda was a broker, real estate agent,
Yeah.
made a lot of money back in the day. And of course, I was in the military, got out, went into IT. But I let my boss go in 2005. And Brenda was like 2003, somewhere
It
in
was
there,
before you. I know that.
before me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I got to let this dude go. I was working 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
I was working 80 hours a week for about 2.5 years. And I'm like, you know what? I am so tired of this. People get tired. But it takes a lot of determination to let a boss go. People will continue on, and there's a fear a lot of times that rises up in people, for change. And I got so tired that I finally said, you know what? Whatever I can do, I'm going to do. And so in 2005, February 7th, I'm like, bye bye.
Nice.
And but that wasn't easy, man. 'Cause it took about a year to get to that point.
Well, you know what it was too. You have to really watch your mindset because that's a powerful tool. And folks tend to speak very negative and don't believe in themselves. So you have to really change your mindset, doing the positive affirmations, doing what you know to change your lifestyle, to kind of erase all those negative thoughts and design what you want and how you want it.
Ooh, that's heavy duty.
So,
Yeah, isn't it?
So yeah, it's a big thing. So once he did, decide to leave that job, then it was now, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? And we had the tools, we had the vehicle, which was Surge 365. So now just training your mind that you can do this, you can achieve, and just saying those positive affirmations is a great way to start working and positioning yourself to win, literally. So
I overcame the fear through affirmations.
Yeah.
Being able to say, I am. And morning and night, being able to say that, being able to pray that, being able to believe that, because, I got a wife. Not that she's high maintenance, but I had two, nothing, I'm just kidding. She had two kids.
Okay.
And so to make that move, whew.
Now, Charlie, you're gonna have to jump in here because Rick and I, we can keep.
I know, right?
We can
All right.
continue to talk.
Well, hey, I'm learning. You know,
But to make
I,
that move,
I'm
to make
learning.
that move, which is a life changing
Yeah.
move, one way or the other,
Mhm.
requires, requires once you make up in your mind and determine you can't go back.
Right.
So I'm
Exactly.
like, I'm not going back to a job and
Mhm.
ownership. Yes. Once you make that move, and so my whole thing was, and see, Charlie, this is what was the trip about it. I wasn't going to a job.
Hmm.
I wasn't even going to necessarily a business. I went to the community to serve.
Mhm.
Brenda was like,
Okay.
"What are you doing? You need to bring some money on in here." And I went to the community because I wanted to see, I wanted to see if it was possible through faith, through faith to
Hmm.
believe something. And I got a word to go into the community and that the business will be taken care of. And I'm like,
Good.
'cause normally people think they got a lot to do with something. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing, because really, and you were believers. And so it comes down to believing what God is going to do if He says He's going to if He makes you a promise. And so I go into the community and I start serving the community. And Katrina happened that year. And I'm serving
Okay.
on boards and commissions and, making some things happen in the community. And when Katrina happened, the United Way came to me and says, "Hey, Rick, we want you to transition 1,500 people into the Colorado Springs community that had come here from New Orleans and the Gulf
Wow.
Coast." And so I was in position to do that. And so I didn't have time to actually work the business. But here's something that happened that was really, really interesting. I go into the community in obedience,
Yep.
and the travel business starts going crazy, and I'm not even there. All these folks that knew how to do what we did, Brenda and I didn't know how to do, start showing up and helping Brenda.
Hmm.
Now, I didn't even know Brenda could turn on a computer, really, because she was letting me do all the work.
Yep.
And so during that time period, I was in the community volunteering, so it kind of fell on her. Man, she became the computer expert for all of these people. I was like,
That's
what? Oh,
nice.
they would do for ourselves. The business started making a ton of money, and I'm not even there. We're getting $1,000 bonuses, $10,000 bonuses. We're winning free cruises, and Brenda is just making it happen with this support team that just came around her. And I was like, wow, a lot of times you got to get out of a situation in
Get
order
out of
Yep.
the
to
way.
get out of the way
Yeah. Yeah. Get out of the way.
for things to happen.
Hmm.
And so, but that we haven't gone back to work since 2005.
Well,
Just
we
like
haven't gone back to a
I
job.
just,
a
well, I
job.
say a
Yeah.
job is just over broke,
Yes.
job, just over broke, journey on the way to brokenness.
Yep.
The money that you make goes just on bills, and the boss makes you jump out of bed.
Hmm.
So, like Brenda was saying, we have designed our own lifestyle,
Hmm.
and
That,
we just, yeah, this is so it's fun. We've been having fun, and of course, we're in a fun business too. But one of the things I got
yeah.
to say is that a lot of people are looking for different things to do after the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's very important that they find those things to do because we this pandemic is very um it hurts our mental health. A lot of people
mm,
need to find something to do to keep them positive, work on their mental health, work on that self assurance, or and and so and that's what I do. I'm doing things that I never done in my life before. I'm just jumping
I'm
on the
proud of
waves.
you, by the way.
Thank you. I'm proud of you also. I'm proud of you,
Thank
man. We it's it's fate. Fate got us connected later on in our lives. I wish you were around me years ago, maybe a decade or two ago. And but you know what? We get blessed at certain times in our
Hmm.
life. So, you came at the time that, the Lord wanted you to come. And I'm glad you're in my life now and we get to talk and inspire each other. And now I actually have your other half, your best half.
Hmm.
And I got that from you. You said that she was your best half, right? Brenda was your best half.
Yeah, definitely. She's like, right, right.
Say that?
Do not say that. Nah, man. Yeah, yeah. Brenda is. She does a lot of work with the mind and attitude
Mhm.
and belief. And she just actually started a podcast. Let's talk with Brenda.
Yes.
Let's talk with
Mhm.
Brenda.
Took the words
And
right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say, and it's something about me and podcasters. Now that I'm in the community, I'm trying to support everyone that I possibly can. And now that yourself and Brenda are on this podcast, every podcast she has, I'm going to follow and I'm going to share. And it's going to go on my pages as much as when you're on the air. Guess what? I'm going to share it. And because what you have to say is definitely inspiring. I know that without even listening to the first podcast. Um, actually, Rick, one of your friends are calling, man. You know, I this is crazy. I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna talk to him. All right, I'm gonna talk to him. Hey,
Oh, wow.
hey,
Hey, how you doing? You're not on the air, are you?
Russell, you are interrupting
what's
Rick
up, bro?
Reese, Brenda Reese. You just call when you want.
What's
You
up,
know
man?
This is Nona's fault. This has got nothing to do with me,
this is.
man. She just told me to call you.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry you're on the air now.
Listen, we're on the air, and I got royalty on the air, and you just calling and interrupting things.
You got me on the air with them?
Yeah, I got you. Y'all are on the
What's
podcast
up,
now.
man?
Ricky, are you there?
I want everybody to know how.
Ricky's not there. Ricky, are you there?
Yes, he is.
I am. What's happening, man? Yes, sir.
Can you
Hello,
hear him?
hello, hello.
Hello?
It's Rick.
Ricky?
Yeah, he's
Yes,
saying hello.
sir.
I can't hear him.
You can't hear him?
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh, you got yeah. It's probably through the computer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can send me the link and I'll join you. It's simple as that.
I'll send you a link. You
If you're
just.
really on, you can send me a link. I'll come on right now.
All right, I'm gonna send it to you right now, there.
All right, I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna go right on. Okay.
Sure. Make sure you sign on Nona's account too.
Okay. All right.
Just
All
like
right,
you
bye.
called on her phone.
All right, good to see you. Bye.
Hey, you know what, Charlie, man? I love New Bedford, man. I love New Bedford. When I left New Bedford, my whole thing was knowing the West End, knowing the South End,
Yep.
and how it's almost like we're corralled, to opportunity, and it's so hard
Yes.
to break out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when I left, one of the things that was on my heart is my hat. One of the things that was on my heart was to do something that could bring money into the community from the outside, knowing how
Yes.
difficult it is to get money from the inside because everything is kind of locked down for years.
I
And
agree.
and so when I joined Surge, the travel business, I wanted to try it out for myself to see. Now we made a lot of money in the
Mhm.
travel business, a lot of money in the travel business, and we continue to make a lot of money in the travel business.
That
One of
sounds
the things
good.
I
Why don't
want
you say a lot of money again?
Yeah.
I want you to say a lot of money
I
again.
wanted
That
to bring that money. In fact, that is my desire. I am going to bring that money into our community. And for those who can see, because not everybody can see, and that's what Brenda works with the mind. For those who can see, to be able
Mhm.
to tap into something that is global, that is worldwide, and the positioning and timing is perfect for right now. You know, after the pandemic of 1919, the Spanish flu,
Mhm.
just a year later began the Roaring Twenties. The Roaring
Wow.
Twenties where millionaires were made.
That's so
Fast
true.
forward to this pandemic, 2019, 2020. We are now in the Roaring Twenties. Every
It,
crisis represents an opportunity. And so you got 8 trillion people who were locked down that all want to travel again over the next 2, 3, 4, even like now, years.
mhm.
So to get in position right now to tap into, to override this return of travel, that's what Surge allows us to do, is to override that return of travel. But I want to create a pipeline from the globe, from the world that flows into our community, the West End, South End, and of course, the other parts of it. I'm familiar with the West End and South End,
Hmm.
and be able to do some of the things that we need to get done in our community. And one of the things is just money coming into the pockets of people.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also community is important to me. So there was three things that I wanted to actually get done, which I've done for me, and now I want to spread to others. Personal freedom. I want to be personally free from the quote unquote system way of making money
Mhm.
with the job, being able to be an entrepreneur and a business owner. Secondly, community building, to go into the community with a pipeline of wealth that really truly makes a difference. That's not
So
controlled by anybody else. And then the
so
third thing is that,
You said so true.
and then the third thing is global missions as a believer,
Mhm.
being able to spread the gospel around the world. And so since I've proven those things for myself, now we're ready to prove it for other people. And so Brenda keeps my mind straight because she's all about the mind.
Yeah, I am. And I think it's really important to always be learning something new. Just like you said early, Charlie, that you're doing different things now, things that you never did before. And that's what keeps our mind sharp when we're
hmm
learning something new. And you can do that every day. I mean, the internet, the World Wide Web is what I love to
true.
call it, because there's a wealth of knowledge there. Whatever you want to learn, you have the opportunity to learn it. It's just making yourself say, okay, I'm going to do this, and stop sitting around and waiting for someday. Because, like we know, someday is today. And just
Yes.
making the move to do what you know to do today. And that's what we love about Surge 365, because it allows you to bring the income in from home. That's another thing. There are so many people working from home now. It's
hmm
just, it is exploding. You call to talk to different businesses now, and you hear kids laughing and talking in the background because everything is outsourced now. Nobody
Yes.
wants to come into the office. And so, with our business and what we're trying to get out to everyone, is you're not having to convince someone that your product is better than someone else's product, because right now folks can just get on the internet and order something from the store, and it can be in front of your door within an hour. So nobody wants to wait for shipping. Nobody wants to do the ditto where something comes every month. They want it now. They want it
Exactly.
instantly. And so what we love about our business, we're not trying to convince someone, because, for example, if you love Delta, okay, and you want to book on Delta, you can still do that through Search 365. And what
hmm
we like to call it is the triple dip. So if you like flying with Delta, you can book Delta, get the reward points that Delta has. You can use a credit card that you always use that gives you miles and credit. And then
Yep.
through Surge 65 membership, you now get the reward credits. So there you are doing a double dip, a triple dip on one transaction. So that's what
Right.
we love about it more than anything else, because we're not trying to convince someone to use our product, or even try to say, our airline is better than their airlines. Let the airlines go back and forth on trying to get the loyal customers. You just win, win, win by having a Surge 365 business.
So whether it be the airlines, whether it be hotels,
Yeah.
hmm
whether it be anybody in the travel industry, Surge, the key word is it provides access to whomever it may be.
Yeah.
And so we're able to book with anyone. People ask me, well, do you have, it's the industry.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the entire, we just have access to override and to get paid commission. And that's huge, because that represents a tremendous amount of money being able to come into a household. And
Mm-hmm.
see, and you see Brenda and I traveling all the time. We travel wholesale instead of retail.
Mm-hmm.
We write off our travel and we get paid to go.
That's
You can't do
really
that. What I like most is being your own boss and
Yes.
controlling your own destiny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was probably one of the biggest things that I had as one of those things you don't like coming out of New Bedford, and the control that I felt of not being able to move around and to do the types of jobs that I wanted to do, and to do this or to do that. I felt locked down. And
yeah.
that may have been just me. That may have just been in the past. but I felt locked down in the West End. And then we go across the bridge and go to the South End. I felt locked down in the South End. And I was like, how do you break out of this? You got to either know somebody, your family has to be connected to
Hmm.
their age. Otherwise, and I look at the kids coming up, it's so hard.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're really pushing be your own boss, control your own destiny,
Mhm.
build financial independence outside of the system. Now, here's something I wanted to do for myself to prove for myself in Colorado Springs. I live in Colorado Springs, Colorado. My money doesn't come from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Mhm.
My money comes from around the world.
Mhm.
Yep.
And so when I go into the community to do something in the community, it's not like somebody can say, "Oh man, he's too effective. Let's shut this down."
Yep.
No, my money is coming from all over. I would like to see in New Bedford. This would be my ideal situation in New Bedford for people to understand, what we're doing and providing access to the industry.
Hmm.
Where we were the leaders in whaling way back when. Whaling for New Bedford. We were the leaders worldwide. I would love for us to put together a team in New Bedford where it's giving access to this money now coming in from around the globe in the travel industry, where we are now the leaders. In fact, travel will be key to the recovery, the economic recovery globally of everything post pandemic. And I'd like to see us be able to override that. So now wealth is coming into the families within Colorado, within New Bedford, and also here in Colorado Springs. Wealth coming into those families, overriding the return of travel, not just as a consumer. We get so used to being consumers, but as
Yep.
business owners that have access, moving aside Expedia and tapping into that 98 billion that they make, moving aside the cruise lines. We're just tapping into it. We're just not booking directly through them. We're going through Surge and going to them for the same product. Man, that's huge. That's
Yeah, it is.
huge. And so, but people don't understand business,
Mhm.
It,
and they
it
look at it like, can I do that? And see, and that's where Brenda comes in because she knows about the mind.
and I just I just see so many things within this community that are just stopped and shut down only because of
Mhm.
money. And so this
Right.
is where something like Surge 365 is able to help out. It may just be a little community center down the street. They may need something where it could be from a small figure of $1,500, and all of a sudden, the next day, next week, you look at it, it's closed down for
Right.
what? For $1,500.
Yeah,
Um,
see, that's what I'm talking
let
about. Woo!
let 1 second, Rick and Brenda. Let's add Russell. We're gonna add Russell to this
What's up,
podcast.
Russell? What's up, my brother?
He was serious. He wanted to get on this call.
Well,
What's
well,
up, man? What's
listen,
up, brother?
can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You hear me? Hi, how you doing? I'm sorry I was late, Charlie. He had me in the room, and he had me in the room all that time in the back. I was here, I was there, but he just wouldn't allow me to go in, so I kept pressing the button. So what I have to do is I have to keep calling his phone number. Just keep calling him and calling him. He finally got tired of it. He
Listen,
doesn't have
I
any kind of phone block or anything. He
I
knows it's
have
me.
I have friends on this podcast right now that I care about, and sometimes you get guilty by association. So I didn't want Rick and Brenda to be
That's too funny, man.
tarnished through
Uh,
association with Russell
check it
Ramus.
out. Check it
I
out.
hear I hear all the great stories that your brother tells me about himself, and then he has some misery and some turmoil that he has to talk about you, and he's really, really he's
Yeah, I
distraught.
was.
Your brother Buddy has
Rick,
lost all his hair talking about you.
you,
And
Nah,
you
man.
know,
Russell is the man. Russell is the
Rick,
man.
Rick does. I got to tell you something. We do go way back. We've known each other from way back, and then he all of a sudden, I know his whole story. He just man, and I'm just so wow, man. What you've done, with your schooling and everything. I am very impressed. You just never ever just packed up and left it. And man, that must have been such a challenge to, to go to school and then put yourself, in those types of courses and say, oh, I don't know, is this really going to be me? But you stuck with it. And
And
congratulations, that's really
God
good.
is good. I got to tell you, because
I remember you.
coming up through Keith, and then we were part of the Black Wave One Holy Family. Thank goodness I did, because that got me thinking about college. And but I wasn't prepared, man, for college, man.
Mhm.
Engineering. So I go to University of Lowell and said I want to be an electrical engineer. And of course,
Yeah,
back in those days,
man. That's,
you taught all those courses. You don't even go to those courses. It's like, man, I want to do
yeah,
that. And the counselors
that
weren't
is
any
really.
good. The counselors, they encourage you to go into the workforce, not to college.
Yeah.
Yes,
And keep
absolutely. Yeah.
you go into the workforce, not college. And
Well,
but I said, if they
you
can
kind of
teach it right, I can learn it right. And that was the attitude.
Yes.
you kind of think about it, that was going on for decades
Right.
up until right around that time that you went to UMass Lowell. Right around that time, things started changing a little bit, where
Oh, okay.
people started getting self-educated about. Wait a minute, I need to do some self-investigation about what I want to do with my life. There's bigger and better opportunities other than me grabbing that hammer or nail, and that's not bad. I'm just telling you, is let me try to get educated. Let me, you know what, my father, my grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, everybody wore work clothes. I want my work clothes to be a shirt and a tie, and I want to go to the office. I want to do something. I don't want to just kind of get that next generation job at the factory
Mhm.
or in the business. Guess this is what I want to do. I want to go to school and be that entrepreneur. I want to be that boss. And right around that, the 80s into the 90s, that's where it started getting a little bit better for this community, where
Oh,
people are
good.
kind of stressing, going to college, and
Oh,
or
really?
going to.
That's good. 'Cause, they didn't stress for us. I
No, they didn't.
stumbled. I stumbled into everything you see now. The Lord, of course, I stumbled into with not knowing. I
Hmm.
stumbled into college. I stumbled graduating as a plastics engineer. I even look back and go, huh? I stumbled going into ROTC to be a commissioned officer in the Air Force. I stumbled into that. I
Mhm.
stumbled being an entrepreneur. Like, huh? What's that all about? I
Hmm.
stumbled into the wealth of Surge 365. I stumbled into it. Now, I say stumble. I'm a believer. So
Mhm.
everything is a course that you walk for purpose,
Hmm.
down the road. And I really do believe this, in stumbling into that is for the purpose of bringing money back into the community.
Yep.
We talked about the Community Empowerment Center. And right now, Expedia, $98 billion, actually 2019, $98 billion,
Mhm.
Expedia.
Mhm.
Wow.
The product that Surge 365 has, the Vortex, moves Expedia to the side, accesses that same industry, moves them to the side. Expedia and Priceline own all these other companies, and they set the public rate. The product that Surge has is at that same level that says, okay, when I book through the Vortex, it's going to the same Marriott hotel as Expedia, connects people to the same Marriott hotel, but it looks at the Expedia price real time. It comes in up to 60% less than that price.
Nice.
Man, this is access to a global money structure here. Not only does it come in up to 60% less, it pays the owner of the Vortex 60% of whatever is saved. So I give this free link, it's a complimentary link. Let's say, okay, I give it out to
Okay.
the
Okay.
entire city of New Bedford.
Yeah.
This one link to the entire city of New Bedford. And it's linked to the Community Empowerment Center. Not me, the Community Empowerment Center. People make a choice to book through that link as 8 trillion people return to travel. Not just in New Bedford, but globally. That link goes out globally. People book
Hmm.
through that link based on the cause that's behind it. I'll book through this link because it's going to go to a community empowerment center. Not only do they save up to 60% when they book, 60% of what they save comes to that empowerment service. If
Nice.
35,000 people save $50, that's $1 million. And so that's what I'm going to do. Outside of New Bedford, I'm doing this anyway globally as I get out the
Hmm.
camera. I'm doing this anyway globally so we can do this in New Bedford and tap into a money source because we're held in place because we have no money.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's
Oh,
intentional.
yeah.
That's so true.
I'm one for like really big now on being self-studied. Um, you know, my situation. I've worked in a library for 15 years, and I'm always seeing books. Now seeing books all the time. There's so many authors and so many different, whether it's books on business, books on art, all kinds of things. It's really enlightened me to see there's so much knowledge out there. I'm very careful on how much of that knowledge I take in because I don't want to burn myself out. I don't want to turn around and, you can become sometimes so knowledgeable about so much stuff that you just your head can spin around and you won't know where you're going. And I definitely didn't want to end up in that situation because years ago I was fortunate to even stop my education because I wasn't, be honest with you, I wasn't really looking to go to college. I was actually looking to just go off into the service just like you did. But unfortunately, some circumstances,
But you
having
know you are my
injured,
hero though, right?
yeah, well, I injured my back. I wanted to do like you, go in the Air Force, and I don't know if you can actually see in the back of my head. If I look that way, I got my picture of my plane up here, and I build my own models. So having had my father who was a graphics artist, I picked up a little bit on that. But you know, this thing about just learning on your own is so important for our young people to understand. I mean, you have to go to school and respect our teachers. You go to school and you listen to what they have to offer. You leave that classroom with as much knowledge as they're trying to share because they're really there to help you. But you can it's good for you to go off and go on your own and learn, just like you're introducing to the public today, where about business. Um, it's business for me started with a simple paper route, and then working video production. I did video production for years since high school. I did weddings, but in a bigger and larger scale, yes, that it would be really nice to take those steps and learn those kind of things. I'm about to get ready to start my master's degree in it's going to be a certificate, and then I'm going to work my way on to a bigger way because like I said, I started off in a smaller way doing weddings. My wife and I, she was a photographer, I was a videographer. But yeah, it's good. It's good that you're sharing this knowledge and we learn more about business. We all share with each other, just like Charlie's been doing, like you do. I think we can move ahead, move our community ahead, and surprise a lot of people that thought that we weren't able to do this.
Yeah,
So
see, so you're one of my heroes, right?
I don't know, but I think you're my hero because you came out of you've come. I,
It,
we used to have
it,
conversation a lot years ago.
it actually is true. One of the things, and this is what Brenda and I actually specialize in, is identifying the vision.
Mm-hmm.
What is the vision of that person?
Hmm.
Everybody has a purpose. What is your purpose for being here? And being able to identify what that purpose is, and the vision and the dream that they have, and writing that down. When they write that down, things start to happen. Things start to fall into place. Things start to appear. And Brenda is one of the specialists at this in being able to identify your goals and your dreams and being able to write it down and the affirmations that support it and all the things that make it true. As Albert Einstein says, your imagination is a
Mm-hmm.
preview of coming attraction. Your imagination, everything begins with the thought first. And a lot of people in New Bedford and beyond have thoughts, have dreams, have visions, and not even knowing that that's the real world. You know, what they are in right now. It's not the situation that's driving things. It's the vision. It's where they're going. And if they
And
can write that down and focus on
Rick and Brenda, how do people reach out to you? What do they do? What are they? Is a phone call, website? What do we do? How do we reach out to that
it. Well,
tandem, that team?
they come visit us in St. Kitts, West Indies,
Oh,
by plane, by boat, by motorbike.
right. But you know what? Before we tell you that, Russell, that is so cool though, because I believe self-taught, self-learned is the way to go.
Mm,
So for you being surrounded by books and being able to focus on what you want to learn, when you want to learn, and how you want to learn it, that's awesome. Because if more people can be motivated to learn what they want to learn and enjoy learning, they would learn so much more and so easy. But we're forced to learn these things that we really don't want to learn, and it's not fun. So
Mhm.
when you are learning what you want to learn, then that makes it a lot fun. So just kudos to you. And I would have loved being in a library. I could see where the knowledge was just off the chain that you were able to have access to, and learning and teaching yourself. So I just wanted to get that in there before Rick started talking again.
yeah, one of the things that is so important
It's a
is when
great
you have
point.
that vision, when you have
Thank you,
that
Brenda.
vision, the information you're learning relates to the vision.
Yeah.
That's how you kind of narrow down what's essential and what's not essential, based on the vision, and then learning the things that support the vision. And whether it's me, my mind work, affirmation, understanding what the vision is. What is your vision? What is that dream that you have?
Yeah.
That may have been, pushed to the side,
Right.
and then bringing that out and dusting it off and saying, okay, here are all the things I need to learn to get there. And this has been one of the truths for me, and all the things that I've done, everything circles back to money and the lack thereof that holds people in position. And we talk about politics. Politics are great, but my whole thing, even in politics, is tap into business to create the money so that you're not tied to any group, but that
I
you've got
agree.
your own money that is coming in that allows you to be a man, to be a woman, to take a stand, and to put people around you that understand business. It's all about wealth transfer. I believe that is our next step that I'm trying to get across to people. I'm a community builder. Our next step is tapping into business that transfers wealth to do the things that need to get done. A lot of times we'll run off without money. I said, you know what? I am not going to another community meeting where they have no money. Because all we do
Mhm.
is talk, 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 talk. No,
Yeah.
let's put business people in place
Mm-hmm.
that tap into wealth to transfer the money. And, a lot of other groups understand that. We just don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
That the first
Exactly.
step is get the money and then do what you got to do, or simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
But put processes in place. So when I look at what I just mentioned to you guys, the Vortex and making money like Expedia, they're not working. And nothing against them, they're business.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to get out of just being a consumer and move into business ownership.
Yeah.
We
Hmm.
need to be business owners. Brenda and I are business owners in the largest industry on the planet, Surge 365,
Mm-hmm.
and it transfers wealth without that effort of working, working. You heard her mention she doesn't have to store products. She doesn't have to. All she's doing is overriding what's already happening out there,
Yep.
and that's critical and important.
I
But
think. Yeah.
There's
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, I was
it's
gonna. I was.
go ahead,
Go ahead,
Russell.
Charlie.
Go ahead.
Because
Nope.
I'm sorry with the interruptions. Because what happens is sometimes it seems to be a slight delay. I don't want to sound like I'm interrupting. But I one thing I learned years ago was a work ethic, and what happened was it started with just a simple paper route when I was a kid. I was like 14 years old. Whether it was cold weather, snow, I was told, you got to get a little job. So I went out and I ran around delivering papers all up and down Cottage Street, Morgan Street. I had actually the 80 of my papers unfortunately, they went to the jail, man. I had over 100. No, excuse me. I had 80 papers, and 40 of my papers went to the jail. And for some reason, they always had me step inside of the prison to give the papers. And I always said to myself, man, I'm just going to keep working. I don't want to end up in the situation one day. And that really motivated me. I worked real hard, and that was the beginning of me making a little money. I only made like $14 a week, and that
But
was
that's
enough to
good.
go. Yeah, that was enough to go down to where the Rite Aid is located. It used to be Kresge's. I'd sit and have my hamburger and my Coke. But it was that feeling of having worked real hard to make that money that kind of carried me for many years. And so, the situation we have right now, I know a lot of people took some time off. They sort of feel comfortable that they get time off. They can make decisions to say maybe I'll work from home or something. But there's nothing better than working with your hands and working physically, getting out and just going. I mean, that stayed with me since I was a kid. So I know I pushed myself and I pushed myself. And as in the past, I had to deal with recovering from a serious back injury. But I've gone and done some unbelievable jobs. You would say, how did that guy do that in that condition? That was 5 months on the Ernestina, 5 months working in a juvenile boot camp in the state of Cape Cod, having to have to pass physical tests that were just like you probably did in the service. I had to do in a state facility, a state trooper facility where I had to run and do calisthenics and climb ropes and do all kinds of things. And I really did, it didn't bother me. I said I'm going to make this and I'm going to push myself. So that's what I've been doing. So we got to really instill in people's heads that they should, no matter what, if if you have something that's holding you back physically, you still can use the other arm, or you can use the other hand, or you can use the other leg.
Here's
And you,
something.
and,
Here's something that I've discovered.
Yep.
I use my mind.
Mhm, mhm.
So when I talk to you about surge, I'm talking to you about the shift and the wisdom in our community. The wisdom in our community are combined with tools that bring tremendous wealth in. You know what I mean? Beyond my physical abilities. Because as I get older, my physical abilities will kind of go down. And so what I have done is I've actually transitioned to making money with this
Mhm, mhm,
based on tools that I can see.
mhm,
Surge is such a tool
mhm.
where Brenda and I have designed our lifestyle. I don't physically work. I mentally work. But I have a skill set to teach skill sets to be able to understand that the shift that we need goes even beyond my physical abilities. When I look at Surge 365, I'm looking at making money the way Expedia makes money. I'm not booking travel. People are booking travel.
Mhm,
I
Hmm.
just have a career that overrides what they do.
mhm,
And the rich are wealthy because they've organized and have access to what people do to be able to override that and to create wealth. That's how you create tremendous wealth beyond your physical abilities. And so when we're looking at Surge consists of an actual travel agency.
mhm.
So we have access to everything travel. One of the things that's interesting about it is that travel training. And
Oh
so
yeah.
let's say a person wants to become a wedding destination specialist. They want to become a Disney specialist. All this training is free. It's free.
Yeah.
You think about college, you think about the library, all this training, this is specialized training for a Bermuda specialist, a Massachusetts specialist, a
Special
New
needs.
Bedford specialist, a special needs specialist.
Mhm.
Then became a
Hmm.
Commodore for Princess Cruise.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's what's so great about it. All the knowledge that you need and want is right there on your computer, what we call your back office. And you can go in there and you can train and learn whatever you want, however you want. And one of the things I wanted to do is I became a Commodore for Princess Cruise Line. And after I finished taking the classes, they had what they call a graduation cruise. And you got to
Okay.
choose where you wanted to go, wherever Princess cruised. So of course I wanted to find the longest one, since this
It's
was going to
free.
be a free trip. I wanted to make sure I got the longest cruise. So we found a transatlantic 15-day cruise through Princess. And we were able to go, and Rick has it to
We
Azores.
left out of Fort Lauderdale, hit the Azores, Portugal, Lisbon, Spain,
Yeah.
Paris, London, Stonehenge. It was a free cruise.
And it was a free
But
cruise.
these are career opportunities that nobody controls. And so imagine coming into Surge, not having to go to college to actually it's like a trade school,
Right.
in
Mhm.
the travel industry. Surge also includes the Vortex. And we mentioned the Vortex, which is a free link. Give it out to the world. People book through that link, earn 60% of what they save. And it's lower price than the public price. The travel club membership saved us $1,500 staying at the Bellagio
Oh, yeah.
in Vegas. And they'll travel wholesale
Mhm.
instead of retail, write it off in your taxes, get paid to go.
And you know what? To add to that, when we stayed at the Bellagio, it was so nice because I was able to have my concierge get us a fountain view on the 28th floor.
Wow.
So there's nothing like having a concierge. And that's the one thing I love about my membership. I just call my concierge or I do a text to the concierge telling them what I want, what my budget is, when I want to go. And then they come back with a whole host of places you want to stay. But that was a real nice trip.
So should you always aim high? Just go for the
Oh,
penthouse, go
definitely.
do it,
Oh,
and then see what you get.
You gotta go big.
But don't.
424 is high. 424 is very high.
We see people traveling. They don't know travel wholesale.
Yeah.
And so we write off all of our travel on our taxes because it's a business expense. And of course, you can't really tell people. They just have to be open to understand. But there's a 7-day vacation stay that they've included. So, when a person's been a member for 12 months, 7-day vacation over 3,000 locations. And we used ours for Cancun.
Yeah, we did.
And a friend of mine used this for Disney. And 7 days. And it's included. And so being able to stay for free. And so, but you have this whole package of everything that touches every aspect of the travel industry where you can pick and choose whatever you want to do. A lot of people say, I just want to travel. But don't travel with paying the full price of it. Travel wholesale instead of retail.
But you know what I love also is the income that we have, but it's all in place. A lot of times people get into different businesses and there's nothing there to help them succeed. We have all the training and all the knowledge right in place. Your orientation is set. What do they call that? Your
onboarding.
Your onboarding is all set. And when you join, you determine when you want to learn, how you want to learn, and it's all there on your computer. So I really love that. The freedom to do it when I want to do it and how I want to do it. I think that's a big deal right there too.
And the other thing as we wrap up here is the income and being able to create residual income. Charlie, the residual income from us having doing this since 2005 took us through the pandemic when no one was working. And we were just staying home, just getting a check. But being able to, as we get older, a lot of folks don't realize the importance of doing something that creates residual income that comes in on a recurring basis. You put the work in here. It's like the passing out the papers and the paper route, and to get that money that now comes after the fact, man, that's a good feeling. And so when the pandemic happened, Brenda and I are home and we're receiving residual income from the work that we put in, not knowing that there was going to be a pandemic. Now, prayerfully, there's nothing to happen in the future, but one thing that will happen is we're all going to get old. And so imagine.
Speak for yourself.
There's no getting out of that. Brenda, there's no getting out of that. There's no getting out of that. We're going to go. We're getting there.
Those bonuses, so when you can tap into a system that actually pays you, and because that was one of the things I wanted to understand when I first came in, is like, oh, you're really going to pay us, Brenda. Yeah. And hey, we've been involved since 2005, and so we're not experimenting anymore. We're just living.
Well, Rick, if you get old, you know what's going to happen for the next transatlantic cruise. You're going to be on a wheelchair, sitting out
Oh boy.
somewhere, and Brenda's just going to be living it up, man. You.
Hey, we just got back from St. Kitts, West
Oh,
Indies.
that was nice.
Our backyard was palm trees
Oh, it
and
was beautiful.
water, and
Oh man, yeah.
this is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
We're trying
I
to
love
introduce
palm trees.
Man,
bruh. It was like, man, it
Yeah.
was beautiful. But you can't introduce something new to a person until their mindset has changed
until they're ready. Yeah.
and
True.
until they're ready.
True.
But we're
Palm
here.
trees, the palm trees
I,
are beautiful,
I
man.
after
I,
this
lo- I love I
podcast,
love palm trees, man.
after this
I love palm trees.
Palm trees are
after
Yeah.
this podcast, I may be ready. I'm gonna have to.
So
I think I'm gonna
we
be
want to
ready.
get the word out, man, because we want if we could just transfer this wealth into our community and into the people that are doing things that feel like they're being held back because they don't have access to those funds. I'm here. I'm a conduit. Jimmy Covert came on board. Rosa Gomes came on board. We've got several folks that have come on board in the city, but there's so many more people, that we want to be a conduit to flow wealth to flow those palm tree moments.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sitting
Yes.
up in this condo that is huge, and it's only the two of us, and we're sitting there and we're just looking out on the balcony, and you got the palm trees out there, you got the water out there. We're just chilling, and we're saying to each other, why is it so hard to convince people of a lifestyle? Why is that so hard?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
And
it's exactly what you said. It's the mindset. You gotta
yeah.
have, sometimes your words can't penetrate, and eventually at some point, something does penetrate and maybe the person does come on board. And that's what everything. You have to be a sponge to
Hmm.
absorb the material, the information that someone's giving you. And then you could be so-called hothead like Russell Ramus, and you don't want to hear anything, and you just do things, the way you do things, and the result is
Russell, you the man, brother. You are the man.
I'm I'm really hard, man. I'm really hard. Yep.
Nah, man, I
No, you
appreciate
know
you.
something. Rick. It's not that at all, man. I can relate to you. I miss when my wife and I were down in Miami. We used to see those palm trees when we came out of the house, and man, I loved it. But everything's an experience. It's good. Maybe it'll happen again someday. It's nice to see what's really going on outside. When you leave New Bedford and you go out and you see things, you get a good idea of what's going out there. I think years ago, if there was anything going on, sometimes our audiences have always been a little bit kind of reluctant to really get up there and clap when they see something. I mean, our audiences here, when people are telling you something, they'll sit back, whether they're really sort of personally thinking about it. They're not really as out there with get up and clap about it or something else. It takes us a while to absorb stuff, but when this community absorbs things, they really go a long ways. So I respect that. I understand it. So when they see something sometimes that seems a little bit, wow, look, like what all the things that you can tell
Yeah,
them, like what you're sharing with them, it seems
right.
unbelievable. It seems unbelievable. But when it comes from people who have been there, who have seen that, like yourselves, it's for real. It is real. But, trying to convince them to sort of get on board something and go ahead with it takes a while. It takes a while. And that's just the sort of, it could be part of our upbringing. It could be part of a lot of things. But, I'm sure when you do get a handle on it, you move ahead. And, look at
That's
Charlie.
what a lot of
Charlie's
exactly.
gonna
people
Well,
say that are in New Bedford, that left New Bedford to go different places, Washington D.C., all over the place, and we all kind of see the same thing when we look back at New Bedford. And there's always something in our heart that says, "Hey, we want to help. We want to help. We want to help." But it's that mindset even when we were in New Bedford before we left. It's almost like a stronghold,
Yeah.
Well,
but we know it's going to change. A change is going
People
to
get
come.
people get comfortable with the you get comfortable with philosophies, you get comfortable with people and what they're teaching you, you get comfortable with the job that's in this neighborhood and that's going to provide, me with whatever I need to survive. And that's it. They just want to survive. And
It's
but
true.
there's a little bit beyond that. You can move on and progress and bring some good things. Like bring in a West End Empowerment Center and
Yeah, we're
and
going to do that.
and those stuff like that. It just um and that's
2025.
yep. And we got a 2025. That's a good year, man. My badge number, my first badge number was 225.
Go ahead,
Those
boy.
all good
and you know
numbers,
something,
man.
and you know something, it's okay. It's really important that we're talking about young people and inspiring them, but we
Mm.
also have to take care of a lot of our seniors. They need a lot of assistance. They
Oh,
need assistance with the new technologies. We need to have groups like we do a basic group where we go to one of the community buildings and we introduce the community to whether it's authors, writings. Charlie was one of our guests, and they see the history. But I think what's lacking is we need more people to reach out and help the seniors with the computer, the basics. Signing in on computers, getting their
Hmm.
hands on this technology. We need more young people to reach out, and you find a senior, find someone that needs that help, and sit down with them and show them how to work these things, whether it's their phone or whether it's their computer. And we do it whether it's individually or in a groups. And if we do that, we're going to move everybody ahead, because right now everyone, there's a lot of people stuck on that, man. They can't even do the basic things of trying to pay a bill. And there's no, like, where do they learn it? You gotta,
And
they're learning it from their grandkids or something, or
one of the
somebody
things I
and
want
telling
to
Russ,
them.
do.
that's one of the things that Rick had mentioned on the last podcast about the West End Empowerment Center, and offering those things where a board would kind of dictate what the community needed, and something like that is definitely something that if
Mm.
that gets in place, you can kind of just do those things where you reach out to the be doing that outreach for the seniors and getting them into that center to do those things. And
The other thing, Charlie, I want
yeah,
to capture the wisdom that they have in the
true.
archives. I want
Yeah.
to be able to families in our community. The families the prominent families that have been the backbones of our community, that have that history and that core. I want to capture that in the empowerment center so the young kids can come and they can see out that history.
Yeah.
Because you're right, people are getting older and that we're losing that history and the young. There's no connection between the young people and the old people, and that's intentional. I want to capture that though. I think that's so
It's
cool. South End, West End, all the old
hmm
folks that have been around and have seen things, and to capture that where people can come like a time capsule and they can come and they can view it, they can listen even to their interviews and that
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah, there needs to be. There
exactly.
needs to be a bank. There needs to be a bank like that. And I'm glad you said that, because that's definitely. I remember I started years ago interviewing when I lived off of Kempton Street. I was going to cable. I picked up some equipment and I started going around interviewing people, which I still have a lot of footage. And to be able to go for a young person to go in a community center, throw in a tape and say, let me hear what so and so has to say or what they went through. I mean, that's inspiring. And then they'll know and they'll say, wow, this is how they got from point A to point B. Because we had a lot of people in our community like that years ago. Someone would always be looking out for you. And even if you were doing something that was off key, somebody could approach you or and tell you, hey man, you're doing that wrong, or they call your parents. It's not like that anymore. If you bother with someone, they might tell you to mind your business. And that's not how it was years ago. Years ago, we did have the Manny Costers, and um, you had some social workers, a guy named Mr. Pina, who would come right up to you, walk up to you, and tell you about, what are you doing? I mean, that's what we need. We need
I
that. We
understand.
need
Lenny
that kind of
And,
interaction again.
Lenny
We
Ramos
need
was
that
one of
kind
those
of,
guys.
yeah, Lenny Ramos. Yep.
you know.
And there's
Uh,
plenty of that. And Russell, you mentioned about those, the tapes and all that. As someone that has custody and has those things, what you have to do is make sure that you grab all those things and get it off the tapes and put it in DVDs and put it in something that's gonna, it's gonna keep that history rock solid, because eventually the tapes end up eating itself out,
that's right. They
and then
do. They do
it's not enough
disintegrate.
word. So, but
We're gonna
Yeah.
put that in the empowerment center so that it lasts,
yeah,
Yeah. We
decades.
need
So
a
that it
place. We need a place to store
lasts.
that stuff. Yeah. We need a place to store it and have people view it.
You
But
think about all the stories that we have in our community, man.
yeah,
so
a
much.
lot
Between
of
the West
stories,
End and
man.
South End,
A lot of stories.
The All right. I just want to first of all thank all three of you because you are a guest on the Really Charlie podcast, and I also want the listeners and viewers to kind of look and take some time to go to www.surgepro365.com and
and
check
dot
out
info and
what's
dot
that
info dot
and
info.
dot info.
And there's
Okay,
two. Yeah.
say that again.
There's two. There's a dot info is information. Dot com is a presentation.
Okay,
That
all right.
info is if somebody wants to join, it's only $79 to actually join. Search 365.
Uh,
It's $79 to join Search 365, and that's on the dot info. Search Pro 365 dot info.
dot info.
And when they
Okay,
join, they've got the travel agency, they've got the Vortex, they've got the membership, they've got the 7-day vacation stay. They've got access to everything. Income every 7 sales, the $500 bonus of a $79 product. I mean,
Plus training. Gotta
plus
train.
every 7 sales,
Gotta get that
plus
training
training.
in. Yeah.
$79 plus training times 7 is a $500 bonus. Extra money.
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, you may see Charlie Perry on that www.surgepro365.info as soon as
Sounds
tomorrow
good.
morning.
And the thing is, people have need. I have transferred all my professional skills from the military, from IT into this.
Mhm.
So they have me to help them train, to help them be successful. We're in it to win it. And so, but that's a big deal, having somebody that that is not just there to get you into something and have a happy life, but that is here to take you by the hand and show you how to be successful because they've been successful.
Exactly. All right. I don't want to take too much of your time. I mean, we could do this all over again, but I think the best thing for me to do is to get connected to you two through your business, and then we can communicate left and right over what my mindset is, and what I want to do and what I want to do, and along with all the listeners and viewers that are here, you know, get your mind involved and get your mind to absorb this and just gather the info and reach out to Brenda and Rick and let them inspire you to get some things done. Yeah. And
And we'll be back to another podcast on mindset, vision, goals, objectives, and affirmations. We'll do another podcast on that at some point. Brenda has her Let's Talk with
whatever you
Brenda.
want.
All righty.
I am ready to do a podcast with you every week, every month, whatever you want to do. Both of you, we can definitely do that. And occasionally I'll invite friends of ours like Russell Ramus and let them talk a little bit. But I got a quota with him. I deal with him on the radio and WMB1 radio, and it takes a strong man to deal with Russell Ramus on a weekly basis.
Hey man, I tell you, I love my New Bedford people though, man. I'm serious, bro. It's nothing like being around my New Bedford folks.
Well, we're proud of you. We're proud of your wife. We're proud of everything that you're doing, and I'm serious this time, and I'm going to look into some info about Surge 365, and definitely, get me involved in it as much as I can, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank
Good
you so
seeing
much.
you.
Thanks for jumping on, Russ.
Good
Yeah,
seeing you.
Russell, thank you for
I'm glad.
both,
Glad
like
Charlie.
Jimmy, like Jimmy Bogart, just getting into the movie, man. Just pushing. I
You
got
wait.
stars. I paid a lot of money for Rick and
You
Brenda. And you just interrupted this.
you wait till Tuesday's radio show.
Uh,
Listen,
Have you asked them what if they wanted a song yet?
yeah,
Have you told them they
actually,
could have a
let's
song?
let's talk to
Yeah.
the Reese family right now.
What song do they want us to
We're on the
play?
air. We're on the air, WMB1 Radio, serving you R&B music on the rocks, chilled
Nice.
music, chilled
I was
hosts,
wondering what that
where
was.
you get to
Oh,
listen to the
It's
music
lemonade.
you
It's
love the most.
lemonade for me on the rocks, though. It's lemonade for me on the rocks.
Lemonade. Listen, you can. It's R&B music. Well, you just killed the whole promo. I'm going to talk to the producer. This week, I'm talking to the producer. Say, hey, Brian Magnet,
I got
I'm trying
I
to
got
say the
lemonade.
I'm trying to say the promo on the podcast, and Russell just interrupting me, talking about drinking lemonade. Listen, we know that your lemonade is a little tainted. There's a little bit of grog or something in there. You can
It's
fool
hard. It's
everybody, but you ain't
hard.
fooling me.
Grog. Grog.
Yeah. Oops, the secret's out. Nona knows now you put grog in your lemonade.
Oh
But
no, no. Hey, let me tell you, Nona is she's the queen, man. I don't mess with the queen.
listen,
Right,
it's the
Ricky?
music.
you
Right,
know, man.
Ricky?
You know.
Right, Ricky? Ricky,
That's right.
don't mess with the queen, man.
So,
I
but
don't mess with the
it's
queen. Charlie gets away with a lot of stuff, but Michelle
Right.
doesn't let him get away with everything. He may think he gets away with it, but he doesn't.
That's why it's called Really Charlie. Really Charlie podcast. So,
But thanks for having us on, though, man. We appreciate it.
but
So.
you didn't give us a song. We want to play some songs for you on Tuesday night.
What
So,
song would you like to have dedicated?
R&B.
Any song from the Tavares. Any song from the Tavares.
Tavares, we got a lot of that. So
All right,
I
so
will make
you
sure.
make sure this gets out, Charlie. Don't miss it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Dedicate any song from the Tavares. Say, hey, this goes
Listen,
out
hey,
to Rick and Brenda Reese.
Rick, if you get old, you know what's going to happen. They're going to be yelling, who done it? Who stole my baby?
Maybe.
You better stay young, man, because Brenda's going to be on that cruise and you're going to.
Nah, he
All
can't even
joking
look.
aside.
He doesn't even want to picture that. He was like, no, 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 no.
No, see, I'm a person of vision, and the vision actually comes to pass. The power of words
Right.
actually
All
comes
right.
to pass. And so,
Well,
you notice I didn't say anything. I was just letting you speak. But we are word power, and the things that we speak actually do come to pass.
All right. Penny for your thoughts. A penny for your thoughts.
Penny for your thoughts. Penny for your thoughts.
Listen,
Hey, you know y'all in love, man. Thanks for having us on, man.
I love you guys, and God bless
Take care.
all of you. Russell, all kidding aside, I do love you, brother. And
Oh, you too, man. You know that. We're brothers, man. We're just going at
that's
it. We're going at it. We're gonna do this thing right.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. So, and hey, we need sponsors with WMB1 Radio. So maybe Brenda and Rick could be a sponsor, man. We got to
What
send
we
them some
do is we
material.
show
there.
people how to make money.
Yeah.
We show people how to make money. That's what we do.
All
We
right.
show. Now think about it. The radio station giving out a free Vortex link so the people can go back to traveling again, and 60% of whatever they say coming automatically into the Vortex instead of going to a speed.
There you go.
We teach people how to make money. We teach organizations, schools. We teach businesses how to make money, tapping in, overriding the travel industry. That's what we do. And so instead of just giving a check, we teach them how to fish.
There you
Well,
go.
you're gonna teach me then, brother. Both of
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
All right. I
Love
love
y'all,
you.
man.
Take
Good to see
care.
you, man.
This is the Really Charlie podcast on StreamYard, Anchor, Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. Our guest is Rick and Brenda Reese from SurgePro365.com and SurgePro365.info.
Yes.
Check out these
Russell, you
people.
the
All right.
man.
All right.
Let's
Take
see
care,
All
y'all.
man. I
right.
love you guys.
Take
Take
Okay,
care.
care.
man.
God bless. All right, everyone. That was my fabulous guest. I'm always trying to get a guest on here and highlight what they're doing. That tandem is definitely doing the right thing. They're trying to do the right thing for individuals, for communities, for people, for families, and that's what we want. Those are the people that we want on the Really Charlie podcast to highlight them. So please continue to support the Really Charlie podcast through YouTube. Join the channel, like the podcast that we have, and come back every week. I'm trying to bring in another guest, and tonight's guests are definitely dear to my heart. I really love those two. They're definitely inspiring a lot of people and doing the right thing. So continue. Next week, I'll keep you informed about our next guest on next Wednesday. And also, I mentioned about WNB1 Radio, WNB1radio.com. That's the address. Put that in your browser. Listen to music 24 hours a day, 7 days out of the week. On Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, myself and Russell Ramus are there serving R&B music, and we're trying to bring in some of the old school, and we'll see what happens. Right now it's 2 hours. Maybe it'll be some more hours later on in the year. So, and the Really Charlie podcast is coming up on their first year anniversary, December 5th. So a lot of you former guests, I'd like you to come on that day, and let's just talk about the podcast and what it's done for you, what it's done for me, and but that will be December 5th of this year. Will be my first anniversary. 1 year goes by very quick. All right, everyone. God bless. Stay blessed and be well. Love you all. Take care.